Anyone else just sit around and think about how weird it is to actually exist. Sometimes I get weirded out when I look in the mirror and think, this is me. I exist. People see me. Yes. But thanks to a pretty intense acid trip, I don't like going down that hole much anymore. There is no bottom to it, and the sheer unknowable nature of existence can be as suffocating as it can be inspiring. I find myself looking at my own hand thinking how strange it is that it's a thing. That and everything you've done in your life has led you to reading this thread. That's the best part of being a nihilist. I think pets are super weird. Like this little freeloading animal just hangs around where we live and we not only don't mind their presence, but actively desire and encourage it. Only because they're cute. And cuteness is in itself a super odd concept when our closest living evolutionary relative literally tears apart and eats cute things without having the decency of killing them first. Anyway, my cat Steve is pretty cool. Yes, it's weird anything exists. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/problem_there_is_anything_at_all. I keep having existential crises about this thought. To me it's so hard to think that in an infinite universe with infinite possibilities I was somehow created to live on this earth in this place in time and space. Like it's weird to think that I wouldn't exist if my dad didn't do the deed in that moment in time. Yes, and then you think about how fucking weird it is that you'll just stop existing at any second. Your consciousness, all your thoughts, this comment that I'm typing, it's gonna be meaningless. After that, there's literally nothing, all your experiences mean nothing. It's pretty scary, but only when I'm trying to get some sleep. Everyone in this thread seems incredibly confident that they exist. Must be nice. Yep. Summed up by Arthur C. Clarke. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Sometimes I do, and get caught in a loop of wondering about it. To get out of that I just tell myself thousands of really smart people over the centuries have tried to figure it out and they were all clueless too, so don't worry about it and just dive into doing something interesting, productive instead. A lot of times I'll just look at my perspective and think, damn, I'm really living right now. Yes, and I hate it. Oh yes, very often. I look around the room and look at inanimate objects and think, well, this chair or this clock or this wall exists. I could have been one of these things just as easily as I could have been a person. Or I think about all the time that's passed before I was born and just how long I, didn't, exist and the nothing I felt then, and whether that nothing will mean the same thing after I die. I was absent from the universe before, and I'll be absent from the universe again, but the second time around, will my presence have changed a thing? Yes. But your brain is supposed to stop you from this as a self-preservation mechanism to keep you from freaking out. If you are inspired by the thought, cool. If you are crippled by it, and it happens a lot, seek help. I wish I'd gotten help sooner. Thanks, brain. All the time. I do, and the more I try reading philosophy for all the answers, the more I am assured of how absurd our existence truly is. Yup. Sometimes I wish I was the sperm that never made it. Yeah, a lot, but it usually happens when I'm doing really mundane stuff like cooking, talking, or putting on my shoes. To get myself out of it, I just say in my head, existing is really weird, and try my best to ignore it and move on. Sometimes it happens when I'm driving and OHBOI, is that unpleasant? It's just really inconvenient. Yes. What makes me the most uncomfortable is that I see everything from my own perspective and am basically trapped in my own head. And so is everyone else. Everyone you see also is thinking about something, and from their perspective you're the other person just existing in the background. Yep. It's like, decades ago you didn't even exist and now you're an emotional mess with a hellscape of twisted ideas in your head. Until one day that unseeable plane once again ceases to exist. Try nitrous. Yes. Takes me to a dark state of mind. It doesn't matter if I die in the grand scheme of things, will pop in my head from time to time. I do all the time, especially when I'm high. Shocker. I also think about how everything is literally weird, from eating to sleeping to working and living or having thoughts and ideas, and how far we've come in just 50 years alone, and where we might be 50 years from now, and how weird time is, and memories, and how weird everyone will be 50 years from now, and how weird they were 50 years ago, and how weird we all are now, and so on. LMFAO. Space is fucking weird, and so are planets and Wi-Fi. It's radio waves, which means it's a form of radiation, which is weird. Also radiation is weird, so as having a big toe and bleeding and pooping and, like I said, etc. etc. Lol edit. I really think about this almost daily and much more. I think more about how weird it is that most people think existence is important. I too partake, currently growing my own, which is nice. How strange it is to be anything at all. I get into this weird loop of staring straight myself in the mirror and saying my name over and over again. I start thinking how weird it is that I have a name and that this is what I look like and people know me and I just exist. I look at my hands and realize I can control them effortlessly. Looking back at myself in the mirror, I gaze into my own eyes looking for something, I don't know what. Sometimes I wonder how different I'd be if I was in another time. Sometimes I'd wonder if I'd be different at all. When I was a kid, I thought that it would make more sense for there to be nothing, rather than all this, whatever it is. Sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I get a really strange and jarring feeling that I'm mindlessly coasting through life, and it's accompanied by this scary thought that I'm stuck being myself, and presumably I'll never be anything else other than me. What's weird is that you don't actually exist, though. There are thoughts, electricity and meat, and sensations happening that seem to be being experienced by a person, but if you look closely, there's nothing prior to the thoughts and sensations. There is no driver of this machine. Freaky. The single only reason you think you exist is memory. But memories are just more thoughts happening, and they are not happening to anyone. They come from nowhere, float by and vanish. How nice. You are just a figment of your imagination. Enjoy. Or you start looking at a word letter for too long and it just trips you out. Yes, all the time. I constantly struggle with the purpose of this. Thinking about this is an instant panic attack. And I don't get panic attacks for any other reason. It's like my mind and body start collectively screaming, don't go there. Think about kittens or something. It's terrifying. Where did all this shit come from? How? I guess part of the answer is that there can't just be nothing. But that's hard to wrap my head around too. I find the concept of time so fascinating yet terrifying. This moment right now is gone forever and will probably never be remembered. When you were a kid, you were never really present mentally. Now we're older and we wonder if we even had a childhood and how fast it went by without acknowledging it. Being really aware and present right now kind of fucks me up, but at the same time, is very fascinating and intricate. Even when you are present, that day and moment in time is forever gone. Only to be remembered in a blurry memory. Even as I type that out, that time, moment, is gone without even thinking about it. Sometimes I blank out so hard and I realize, holy shit. I'm alive. This is life, and it's very humbling, scary, and pure. I can go on, but existence, time, and presence is such a confusing thing. Sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm all like, whoa, there you are, there I am, it's us. Stop being weird. Okay. Yeah, it happens a lot when I am driving and I contemplate what it means to exist and think about crashing the car. Don't tell my therapist. All the time. Don't dwell on it though, it'll drive you mad. Most people see it as a routine instead of an existence. Wake up, work, deal with spouse problems, sleep, repeat. We are here to figure out this universe, while the system keeps us occupied, allowing us to never even to think about why. I banned myself from doing this because it would always lead to the conclusion that there is no point in me existing. I think therefore I am. Awareness doesn't begin at the exterior level of self. It begins with the miracle that makes you you, your core, your spirit. Couple that with whatever consciousness is. What really bakes my noodle even more is thinking about how weird it is that someday I won't, like, forever. Confused face. I spend entirely too much time in my head at night. From the moment I wake up, I am confused about how people can just go around acting like being alive isn't a cosmic mindfuck. Yes, constantly, and it sends me into this spiral of how nothing really matters. Yet everything matters. Yes, but usually when I'm out walking around, I see other people and think, wow, we all exist and all these people have their own stories and emotions and lives. I will sometimes look up at the stars and think of all the things that had to go exactly right for us to get to be here on this rock floating through space. Is it just me, or do you sit down and think about what happens after this life? Like, will you relive this life anew or start a new life somewhere else, losing your possessions and memories of your family? We're on a rock orbiting an insignificant star that's in a relatively small galaxy. Lol, literally nothing matters. Asterisk asterisk all the time. Asterisk asterisk. Like, a million other half-siblings racing towards the egg, I was the winning swimmer. And within me, I carry this consciousness. If it was another sperm that won, this consciousness that I carry, me, simply wouldn't exist. And why specifically this body? When this body reached its limit, my consciousness goes with it. Can't I have this consciousness transferred to another, and experience a whole different life, at different time era? Is this world actually all made for me? That the rest of you are animated, simulated around me? Am I the center stage? So weird. Edit. Word. Yeah, and it's weird feeling to know a lot, but to also know so very little. And to know science is ever evolving, so something that was a fact when younger, e.g., Pluto as a planet, I'm still pissed about this, often gets changed with new knowledge, math that is developed, discovered. I might get downvotes, but man, that's what makes me believe in God, like some higher being who had to do something. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Wish I wouldn't. Of fucking course I do. I think about how there may be aliens out there that have made discoveries similar to ours but with unimagined elements and in ways we couldn't fathom. Much like I imagine my mother's soul dissipating into the universe and parts of it clinging to flowers in alien worlds, with a color we cannot perceive. I have to force myself not to. I get a weird existential feeling about how I'm seeing things from my own perspective, if that makes sense. It trips me out. What happens when all die? An empty void of black? I hope not. If I think about existing for too long, it feels like everything is floating away. I feels like I am moving further away from existence itself. I can't seem to stay grounded when I start talking or thinking about it. It's also weird how people just stop existing after they die. Like, of course I'd like to believe there's life after death in some form or way, but if not, it's pretty fucking crazy to just disappear. At least you get to leave a legacy behind, which is cool, smiley face. All the time. Yeah. And it is wild that one day I just won't. A lot, and sometimes it gives me goosebumps when thinking about it. All the time. Especially how big the galaxy actually is and how small we are and what else can be out there. All the time. Yes, finally someone else. That's the most relatable post I've ever seen. I think it's weird that you all exist. Yes. During those thought spirals I feel like saying fuck it and running into the woods. Why the fuck am I devoting my life to work? I have traveler friends who live off the grid and I wish I could do that, a lot. I tell myself it's not a good idea because without modern medicine I'd be dead. But the idea is so tantalizing. It sucks because you're either in or you're out. You can't be off the grid and just pop in any time you want. Sure, you could try. And maybe do it for a while. But you still have to fully commit to either side. All the time. Have done since I was a wee lad. Main thing being that in all the thousands of years that there've been people on Earth, why am I me? This one person, in this one country, with this one family, in this one time. I'm not anyone else. I could have been, easily, but no, I'm just me. It's very interesting. Along with all those early philosophical musings on the nature of self and identity that I, and I assume others, had growing up, that there's a whole universe of my mind that exists only to me, and no one else, and every other person I meet has an equally large, diverse and unique universe in their own head too. You feel like you must be the most mind-bogglingly unique and special person in the world, there's a reason that this life, this body is the one you've ended up existing in, but it's a major lesson we all have to learn, one almost beyond our natural ability to comprehend, that everyone is just as unique, just as important, and have also likely at one point wondered if they're just the protagonist in a world of side characters. Yeah, I do all the time. Imagine being a star and seeing it all. And the fact that I am able to think about how I can think about how strange it is to exist always blows my mind. I have a tattoo from a line from a Neutral Milk Hotel song that struck me very deeply when I first heard it. Can't believe how strange it is to be anything at all. It is so simple of a line, and yet, so poignant. Yes, I get weirded out by how everyone is living a life full of struggles and achievements big and small. Having dreams and goals and love and experiences. Yet we get a little freaked out when talking to someone we don't know even though they might have an eternally interesting life if we just look at it objectively. Just don't think about it. Rick Sanchez. Thanks for reminding me. Duck you. Or only your consciousness exists and the rest people are just a fragment of your imagination. I recently rewatched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I feel the movie spoke of this eloquently. I can think of a good 4 or 5 instances in my 40 or so years on this planet when I've been going about my business then suddenly. Wait a minute. What the fuck even is this? It's crazy to be alive. I wonder about all the people that are not born yet like they could be, unconscious spirits, in the air waiting to be given a body or some like this. Only until it causes a panic attack and I need to distract myself. Yes, it's weird that I exist and all I am is moving bones and flesh. I have weird holes in my face, and a weird squishy thing inside my head makes me think and have feelings and it gives people their own personality. Then I start thinking about how we're just floating on a rock with billions of other people. It's all so strange and random. Sometimes I creep myself just thinking about it. Sometimes I'll suddenly start doing that unprompted and it's just like, oh shit, I have hands. I'm really existing right now, here, in a physical body. I'm here. I exist in this period of time. Like I'm snapping out of a daze I didn't know I was in. The best way I can describe it is reverse dissociation, where for just a moment, everything feels viscerally, overwhelmingly real. Musical note: how strange it is to be anything at all. Musical note. Thanks for watching. See you later.